We're live now. We are live.
We are.
Oh,
I just said going live.
shush up.
I was ready the second time.
You say something crazy, talking about something we not live.
I was ready the second time.
All right. Facebook.
Hold on, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Just lay down. Pink in the area. Guys, you know what I've kind of been getting into these past couple days? I never thought I would.
What?
K-pop.
We're live.
You said K-pop.
Oh, all right.
Just as,
Dang, child.
Right, I
saying.
knew, I was prepared.
We know.
Just as one.
Not come at me.
Big small
Not all attacking at once.
Dead space in the joint. You feel me?
Just
Don't
this
come
one
for me.
particular group I've really been listening to, and I thought the language barrier would kind of like hold me back, like not knowing what they were saying.
Vicky's in the building.
But
Hey,
now,
Vicky.
hey, I'm
Hi.
Vicky. But no, it's literally just like, I think over the weekend I only listened to this one particular group, Blackpink.
Blackpink. I was going to say
Yeah.
that the Asian group B2K.
BTS.
Those boys can sing and rap.
The thing about BTS is that it's too many people for me. Blackpink is only 4 girls. BTS is like what, like over 10 people? Like it's too many.
It is a lot.
It's a lot going on. They got to be able to, fill in the pieces, fill in the
So like
role.
with the 4, I can get to know each individual person. I know you're singing this part, you're doing this, and everything like that. It's easier to get into it, at least for me. I don't know. Maybe I'll venture into more K-pop in the future, but we'll see. But yeah, that's a new hidden interest of mine. Well, not hidden, a new discovered interest of mine, I guess.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Lab Podcast, a podcast with 4 friends. I'm your boy Aaron.
Camille.
I am Black Habits.
And I'm Matt.
All right, we got a lot on the docket today, but before we get started, let's just tap in. How's everybody week going? How's life been? How's COVID been? Quarantine life? The usual hellos.
Pretty good.
Right over here. I've been taking on some like more home tasks recently. I've been trying to redo my room a little bit. I was telling you guys I organized my bookcase.
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to hang some stuff on my walls, make it a little more homey. So that's what I've been up to these past couple weeks. Well, not a couple weeks, this past week.
Yeah.
But it's going to be ongoing. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. But everything's
You got
good.
a haircut?
I did get a haircut finally. I'm so happy.
That's good. I have been Netflixing, and I've been catching up on stuff that I've missed out on for a little bit. Hey, Mama Hilton.
Hello.
So I've been watching the show with Chance the Rapper and T.I. and Cardi B, Hustle and
Rhythm
Flow,
and
I think it's called. Rhythm and Flow,
and
yes. And
Did you just say Hustle and Flow?
Yes, I did. But I have
here for a pimp.
I have fallen in love with that series.
With Pennsatucky.
I think that they had some awesome rappers on there. I am a new fan of D Smoke, who was the winner. My goodness, that's why I'm Black Habits today. That's his album name.
I figured.
What if I wanted to watch the show? You just spoiled it for me.
You don't know, Aaron. You don't know?
Well, I know what y'all talking about. What y'all talking about?
He rapped.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, it's on Netflix.
It's called Rhythm and Flow, right?
He rapped on BT.
You lost me at Cardi B. I ain't gonna hold you.
All right. Well, we'll talk afterwards and explain it to you because you gotta watch it. It's pretty good.
Look,
it's not ratchet though, Mama Hilton.
Y'all said Cardi B, and that's what I thought as well. I was like, ooh.
No. Cardi B, Chance the Rapper, and T.I. are all judges. The rap competition. Each one of them went to their home cities to find local rappers to come and compete for a record deal or whatever.
It was pretty much like the American Idol format, right? Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Basically, of rap.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've been good. Exciting news. I shot my first wedding this past weekend. That was a lot of fun.
Hey.
Did you know the people or just just random people hit you up?
And gender reveal this past weekend. And no, I didn't know either of the people really. I met the connections through friends.
Mm-hmm.
The wedding was challenging. The gender reveal was easy. But the wedding was challenging. It was hot, direct sunlight. It's a whole thing. It's hard to photograph in direct sunlight.
Was it outside?
Going off in it, but yeah, it was outside. But it was a lot of fun.
You have a thing with outside.
It was dope. Let's go on ahead and just hop right in it. You feel me? Let's just hop right in. We're gonna dip our toes in. We got some fun stuff. We got some serious stuff. Typical day on the lab. You feel me? Terry Crews tweeted this. I'm just gonna read a tweet. I got my opinions on it. I'm curious what y'all's are. Curious what the audience has to say. Terry Crews tweeted June 30th. If you're a child of God, you are my brother and sister. I have family of every race, creed, and ideology. We must ensure Black Lives Matter doesn't morph into Black Lives Better.
Who said that?
Terry Crews.
Like, no. I'm saying, like, who's been saying that?
Nobody.
Honestly, when you read that tweet and like that quote and everything, I just feel like he said all lives matter in more words. Like, I feel like that's your point. Nobody ever, just like Camille just said, nobody ever said Black Lives Better. Like that was never the point. So you took it upon yourself to make that point for what?
Listen, I've never seen that one person translate or say my Black life is better than yours. Like nobody saying that. Yeah. No, like nobody says that.
This one tweet I saw responding to that comment, it was like he said it to keep his place in Hollywood because he's like, obviously he gets a lot of parts and everything like that. So he's like, oh no, I'm not like them guys. It's fine. I don't think like that. But
listen, I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. I don't know what it is, but the whites have something on Terry. I don't know what it is. But they got something on Terry. The black community was mad at Terry when Gabrielle Union left. I don't remember the name of the show, but America's Got Talent. Was that? She left America's Got Talent because she was saying that they were cheating wrong, they was racist, they was doing all this third. And then Terry gonna hop in there and say, Gabby, that ain't what happened in this thing. And now we seeing this. They got something on Terry. I seen a tweet underneath this that said, Terry's calves is so big because he's been tap dancing all his life. And I said, y'all ain't right.
Wow. Yikes. That's not nice.
That's a good one.
And that's the thing about this, and I agree with Matt, what you said. He sounded like basically saying all lives matter in more words. And then Camille or Darnell, one of y'all said, where did he even get the idea that we say we want to be better? Because that's not what the Black Lives Matter movement has been fighting for in the first place. This is fighting for equality and the same that our white counterparts
are not dying.
It basically to have the ability to live, literally. And for him to say something like that is really just
out of pocket,
off the wall.
Wow, and off the wall.
Like you should just sat there, ate your food, done whatever you had to do, get your little jobs, and just
lift some weights.
Keep your fingers off Twitter.
That's the other part of that too. I forgot when he was going through his stuff. Gabrielle Union supported him when he was going through his stuff, saying that
when he was
assaulted, he got assaulted.
Who was helping him out and being supportive of him and blocking the arrows that was coming his way, and he went and did that to her.
But when it comes to Gabby, we're mute and we want to take the other side against her.
Terry trash.
Sorry, y'all.
I'm disappointed.
I can see that, Aaron. They got some dirt over there. I can see it.
They got something on Terry. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Terry,
it's going to come out one of these. He's blinking in Morse codes. Like,
look, somebody hit him with flash photography to see if he in a sunken place because clearly something going on.
I'm just so disappointed in him because again, he's such a household name when it comes to Black actors, and so he's responsible in making sure that he protects and guards his community. And in this moment, he's not doing it. He hasn't been doing it because this isn't the first off the wall statement he's made about what's happening in this country. This is the second one. And he looking real stupid and he looking real coonish.
That he is. That he is. So if those of you who don't know, Cleveland from the show Family Guy and then also the Cleveland Show.
This is the Cleveland Show.
It's voiced by was voiced by Mike Henry, a white guy.
I don't know who that is.
I was today years old when you told me that. I never knew Cleveland was a white guy.
So Cleveland, for those of you who don't know, Family Guy, Cleveland has been a character on Family Guy
since season 1, I think.
20 years.
Yeah,
for years.
Jeez. That's a long time.
And so Mike Henry retired, saying he's stepping down from this and he wants it to be played by a black. He says a black character should be played by a black person, right? And my whole thing is, you wasn't saying that 20 years ago when you was collecting all them checks. You saying it now because it's convenient.
I see that.
My thing is that this is nothing. I feel like that this is all nothing that's new. Like, it's not like this is like a conversation as far as like black people playing back characters or just more roles for black people. I feel like every award show, any black person that happens to win by some crazy chance will say there's no opportunities. And I'm pretty sure he's probably been at those award shows before. So
yes.
I mean, it's like, while I'm grateful,
like you said, he's been to the rooms with these conversations.
Right. Well, I'm grateful that he's today years old and realizing it. I kind of feel like, I mean, at this point, you might as well just keep going. You're 20 years in.
That's what I think.
Think about it, like you said, 20 years. That's a pension in a job. That's a retirement.
Like your grandfather
you about to get out anyway, low key. You just happen to say, well, I mean, the blacks can have it. I'm done with it. It's how it was perceived to me.
Pretty much.
It seemed like the blacks I'm done with it. The blacks can have it. And what's going to be very interesting about it, we got to keep an eye on this. We'll see what the ratings look like next season. Now that it's public and everybody knows the original person is gone, we're going to look up. Cleveland show going to be canceled out of nowhere.
That's what I'm saying, because like I definitely
canceled, Aaron.
Oh, was it? Well, that's great because it was trash. I tried to watch it for a little bit. I ain't gonna hold you.
I never liked the Cleveland Show. I love Family Guy, but I never could get into Cleveland Show. But I do think his intentions were in the right place. It was an admirable thing, I guess. You know, for him to do. Right. But at the end of the day, just like Camille said, like, this has been going on. Like, this isn't just happening because of everything going on in the world with the protests, Black Lives Matter, stuff like that. This just hasn't come up out of nowhere. But his intentions were in the right place. However, maybe right place, wrong time. You should have done it sooner if you really wanted that to be the point. I'm just interested in what the new Cleveland voice is going to sound like, honestly, because, like...
Well, I mean, it's like Elmo. Like, a lot of people have played Elmo.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of practicing your voice.
Oh, Elmo. You just made
another person that
is
a well-known person. I think Camille and Matt, y'all said you don't watch it. Big Mouth is a show that's on Netflix. I think it's Nick Knowles' show, whatever his name is.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I feel like I've seen like maybe 1 or 2 episodes, but I've never watched the whole thing.
She's not like I'd say she's like a secondary main character. And her voice actor is a white woman, and she just also announced shortly after the Family Guy, Cleveland's voice actor, that she is now stepping down and wants that to be played by a black person. And it kind of brings up the idea of, I think somebody mentioned it earlier, black people not get enough roles. And in an animation space, there's a lot of instances that we probably don't know about where black characters are played by white voices, or I'll just say non-black voices.
Right.
Well, I think wasn't Sebastian voiced by a white person?
Yes.
Sebastian the Crab from The Little Mermaid. So I think
he wasn't Jamaican in real life.
No.
You're lying today.
No.
I'm sorry,
but you know what? I watched a video where Jamaicans were reviewing Jamaican accents, and they said that it was a pretty good Jamaican Caribbean accent. My thing is that I think that when it comes to voice acting, I think like how you were saying, Aaron, it was a bit different, because you're contorting your voice to be something that it usually isn't.
Men can play men, women can play men, like because
exactly.
When you're watching, you don't know. Like Ash Ketchum is a girl.
Ash Ketchum is a girl. Yeah.
So Bart Simpson is a girl. No. So I think that, and then there's also instances where Black actors played white people. I was just watching. I don't know why.
Comparison is very few.
I know it's
very
I know it's very few. Can I finish my point?
I just wanted to put that out there.
Can I finish my point? I just think because I was watching the Addams Family, the animation, because I love the Addams Family, and Jennifer Lewis played a white woman. So I'm not saying that, there needs to be. I'm not trying to say that, Black people can only play Black people, white people can only play white people. I just think that, as long as opportunities exist equally for everybody, I'm all right with that.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
You can play a Martian, you can play somebody black, blue, green, whatever. As long as there's equal opportunities for everybody across the board in white audiences, Black audiences, I'm happy.
Yeah, and I think that's the point that I think this is bringing up, that and the point that Camille made too earlier, that yes, we are shooting for equal opportunity across the board, but we all know it's not yet. And then when you hear things like this, it makes people feel some type of way, because then you get the idea that could be played by that could have been played by. Because also all right, I'm gonna take what I just said back, because also the issue with it that I have with this guy playing Cleveland is, as watching Family Guy, especially at a character like that, you get into like Cleveland was. I don't want to say a character, but like this guy had to was playing black jokes and trying to play into. He wasn't just a black character that just happened to be black. He was almost because we all know Family Guy. Wow, he was a stereotypical black guy who was
But honestly, I'll stay with that a little bit. But when you look at the type of the show that Family Guy is,
that type of show.
You can't really get offended by that. It's like getting offended at Token on South Park. It's that type of show.
And I'm not offended at the humor of the show. There's that I want to say that, because I realized that whole show was that type of show. It's the satire. It's the dumb humor. That's what it is. It's
exactly satirical. That's the word I was looking for.
But that satire could have been played by a black person, is all I'm saying, who actually understands
the
cultural impact of the satire that they're satiring on.
Yeah, they could have brought a black person could have brought probably more to the character than what he even brought, because like you said, experience. But I mean, I'm not saying that white people need to step down and let black people take their roles. Get your coin. Obviously, you got those to pay too. But I think that for people, when they're creating new shows or creating new characters, even if it's a white character, whether it's a black character, Asian, whoever, I mean, just be considerate of who you're
who's ever the best person that auditions should get the job, period.
But don't let it be equal. Let it be, well, you upgraded, Aaron. I see.
Good.
Let it be equal, basically. Equal
exactly. Yeah.
Men and women, black, white, Asian, blue, purple.
I totally agree with that.
Well, I think that it goes to who's the head of these production companies, who's the head of these studios, because when you look at these boards, I remember hearing a statistic when I was watching a documentary that 97% of what we see in entertainment and on television is through the lens of a white man. And so without having diversity in leadership in Hollywood and other places, we're not going to see actual change, because we need to see diversity in the writing room, especially for a show like Family Guy or South Park, because they do talk about black stuff. Casting directors, who's actually doing the casting, the hiring, production, everything. We need people who are behind the scenes doing lighting, because we don't look good in all types of light. We need to have a certain type of hues and stuff to make sure that they bring up our melanin and our beauty. And so So we need to make sure that when we're talking about diversity, I like seeing that, you know, we have these voice actors who are stepping down. But I think that we need to shift our conversation to more so the people, the CEOs of the company, thinking about the co-founder of Reddit. He recently stepped down and said that Serena Williams' husband.
Yeah.
He stepped down and said that he wants to see more diversity, and so he's hoping that somebody would fill that position who's a person of color. Uber has added.
Sorry, go ahead.
Uber has added a woman of color as their marketing director.
I saw.
And I follow her on Facebook. I love her. So I think that we need to make sure that we're not just asking for diversity on lower parts of the spectrum. We want to see diversity in the CEOs and the rooms that make decisions for Hollywood, for the private sector, and even in politics. We want to see diversity across the board.
Have you guys ever heard the saying "a seat at the table"? Like, having people like in the conversation, like you just alluded to it, like having people involved in the conversation that involves those people. Like off that similar topic, I was watching a video from someone from WWE, a woman that does like the storylines and everything like that. She says like they were writing a storyline from a woman wrestler's perspective, and she was the only woman in the room. And like everyone was like, you know, oh, I don't think we should go this way. A woman wouldn't do that. She's like, how are you gonna tell me a woman wouldn't do that? You know?
Yeah.
So it's all about like having the people involved in these stories that you're creating, involved in making them. I feel like that's the best way to make it the most diverse, get the best people playing these people and everything like that. That's the best way, in my opinion, that it would be best represented, like across all boards.
I'm gonna put this up here that I'm asking me what she's about to say. If you wanted that transition, you should have made a change before left Reddit. That's exactly how I felt about it when I heard the news. Go ahead, Camille.
That was kind of what she touched on. Was kind of my point, is that I feel like would he have made that change had he not been married to Serena? Because you co-founded it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have done this years ago.
A while ago, yeah.
But again, you did not.
But I think
that's like what I said earlier. Like maybe his intentions were in the best place, but like, why'd you do it right now out of all times?
I think
I wasn't done.
There. Go ahead, Camille.
Don't talk over me.
Anyway, so like he could have been done that, or he could have at least, I don't know, just made his team more diverse. Again, kudos to him for realizing it. Thank you for coming to that realization.
Yeah.
But in the same token, I feel like I need these companies and just people in general to just start making changes, period.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Start making changes because it's right to have equality. It's right to have diversity of all races. Like, don't do it when people are like putting a gun to your head, metaphorically, and saying, oh, well, why not? Well, you should do this. No, I want you to have a heart of like, you know what? No, like
don't do it just because you have
that
to.
Period.
Right. Don't do it just because you have to. If you want to make that change, you feel it's the best for your business, whatever. Cut the bull and make the change. You know, like don't be like, oh, I'm doing it because of this, and yada 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 because of everything going on right now. If you want to make that change, just make it.
But I think I don't want to
quickly there now.
First of all, I don't think that we can dwell on the past because the past is over. And at least they're making decisions right now. But I also think that at the same time, nobody was looking at Reddit or any of these voice actors saying you should step down. They did it on their own accord. And so let's give credit to where credit is due. And I'm not sure that we should, try to disparage what they did, because at least they did it. There's other companies that haven't been doing anything.
Anybody.
I'm not disparaging, but I'm
right.
No disparaging them, but
we said it was the right intentions
because we got some more topics. It kind of ties in because
we'll talk off
of a person who stepped down on their own, and maybe they're not like them because of it, and maybe we won't. So Jenna Marbles quit YouTube. Those of you if you do not know who Jenna Marbles is, she is, I would say, one of the original OGs of YouTube.
She's an OG for sure.
She is wildly famous. I think last time I looked, she had over 14 million subscribers. She's been on YouTube. I remember watching her like middle school in like 2008. Like she's been on YouTube since the beginning.
I might be wrong, but I feel like she was one of the first to reach that many subscribers.
Yeah,
like to get like a lot of like subscribers and everything like that. I feel like she was definitely one of the first.
So she put out a video, I believe it was last week, basically saying, I don't know who this is, but yes, they do. They surely do. She put out a video last week saying that she's quitting YouTube because she realizes she has and this was honestly, I was surprised she did this because it didn't come from, Twitter doing its digging or things like that. She just came out and said, I realize I've had problematic videos in my past. Like she's got videos, making racist jokes about Asians, blacks, Mexicans, making homophobic stuff about gays, lesbians. Like she got slut shaming stuff. She got the gambit.
Honestly, when she got popping, that's around the time that the internet was like at peak ruthlessness. Like you could pretty much say whatever you want, and nobody would. If you were popular, no one would say anything about it.
Yeah, and she stepped down, and a lot of people, the internet had a very interesting. I want to bring these other people up as well because it's a very interesting contrast of how the internet responded. Then I want to know what your guys' thoughts was. So the internet responded in terms of. Because if you watch Jada Marbles more recently, she's addressed her stuff that she's done more recently. She's been on panels and stuff where she's talked about what she's done in the past. She's, publicly been in support of Black Lives Matter. She's publicly been in support of the LGBT community. She's, women empowerment. Like she's done a lot of stuff more recently in the last couple of years to try to, I guess I'll say, make atonement or make amends for what she's done. But then she still decided to leave anyway. Shane Dawson, on the other hand, somewhat similar, pretty much just as big. Pretty much just as trash when it comes to their content. Like I said, racism stuff. He's been on blackface. He's made slut shaming jokes. He's made jokes about the LGBT community before he decided to also become a part of that community and is now announced himself as bisexual recently. Like the last couple of years. The internet decided to do some deep diving on him and just tore him to shreds. Like just tore him to shreds. And YouTube went so far to demonetize all of his channels on YouTube. All three of his channels.
Wow, I didn't know that part.
And so I just thought it was interesting, the reaction from the internet in terms of Jenna Marbles, of her stepping down on her own. And I think the reason the internet was so mad at Shane Dawson is because YouTube didn't really do anything until the internet just kept bubbling up about Shane Dawson for the last like 3-4 weeks, really. And I just really didn't know who he was. He wasn't nothing to me, so I didn't pay much attention to him until I finally listened to research and I was like, oh, you was big wilding for a while. And I know I gave a lot, but thoughts?
I mean, I feel like with Jenna, I think if she had came out with a statement like this other YouTuber I saw, her stuff kind of came up from her past, and she put out a statement like, I'm so sorry, like a whole video about apology video and how much she's grown as a person and that she, you know what I mean? So one of those. I just feel like if Jenna came out with one of those, I think that probably would have sufficed. Honestly, like nobody
didn't she though?
Great point. She did, and I will say the internet didn't cancel Jenna. Jenna left on her own. Right.
No, I know.
And the internet, honestly, from what I could tell, a lot of the internet wanted her to keep going and doing what she was doing because what she had been doing more recent last couple of years, like I said, wasn't really problematic at all, was good for different various communities. And I also will say, because I watched her video and I saw a bunch of other apology videos in the last couple of months from just people, whatever. The only apology video that I've ever felt was genuine that I've ever seen in my life. The only one that ever seemed genuine.
That's my Jenna.
Because Shane Dawson's apology video wasn't really an apology. Shane Dawson got on camera and was like, y'all got to understand where I was at. That was the culture of the internet at the time. This is what we did. I was dumb. I was stupid. Never once did he really see for it at all.
I really have a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to like YouTube apologies because they're all the same. You sit wherever you're sitting, you might have tears in your eyes, you might not be like, I'm not even gonna edit this. I'm just gonna speak from my heart and yada yada yada. I did it because this, but I'm so sorry. But you got to realize that I did it because this. So at the end of the day, a lot of them like justify their actions and like they'll come full circle, be like, I'm sorry, but you got to understand, and I did it because of this. And it's so I never really like YouTube apologies, but I haven't seen Jenna's honestly. But one thing I will say about like this whole thing. I do really respect her for like taking it upon herself to, just taking the initiative to step down on her own and be like, hey, listen, this was messed up. I'm sorry, and I've grown as a person. And you said she's involved in a whole bunch of positive things now, LGBTQ, Black Lives Matter, stuff like that. So like you see her growth, and also you see her action. So Shane Dawson, on the other hand, you got his YouTube apology video, and that was it.
That was it.
I'm not part of cancel culture, but he can. Yeah.
I think that the stark differences between Jenna and Shane is that Jenna is authentic in her life, and she doesn't try to pull gimmicks in her personal life in order to draw people into her channel and to get subscribers. Whereas Shane, he's done that on numerous occasions, where he has tried to pull stunts and just try to be controversial just to be controversial. This whole thing against Shane Dawson is not new. I think that it's been bubbling for actually a couple of years now, because I used to follow both of them. And like even recently there were comments where Shane Dawson made light to sexual abuse of children, and stating that there was a young girl that he saw on his Instagram where she was a cheerleader, and he called her sexy, and she was about maybe 8 years old.
Yeah, I seen that too.
She was about 8 years old.
He's also a pedophile. I forgot.
So he makes fun of pedophilia. He makes fun of the LGBTQ community. He makes fun of everything, and it's not a satire that's enjoyable. It's very disgusting. And I think Jenna Marbles, he's always just been gross. Exactly. And but Jenna Marbles, she's tasteful. She's true to herself. She's not jumping on anybody's bandwagon. She's not trying to be with Jeffree Star and James Charles and all that other stupid YouTube drama. She's to herself, and she's of herself, and I respect her for that. And I hope that she does continue, because again, like you said, we've seen her action as well as an apology. It's not just lip service, but it's actual, self-work and making sure that she affects positive change. And I hope that she continues with her YouTube channel to continue that positive change.
Right. I need back to Shane Dawson being trash. One of the biggest things.
Matt, hold on 1 second. So I hate to interject. I don't know where these coming from. We got a lot of people in our YouTube comments that are from somewhere else. This person, Monster Hour, said, guys, make sure you put this. A couple people are saying, who are we? Like, what's going on here? So just to give a brief, second introduction. This is the Lab podcast for friends. The four of us, our names here. We pretty much have a podcast every week talking about various topics. Some fun, some more serious, like the one that you're hearing now, where we're discussing what's going on in the YouTube world with Shane Dawson, Jenna Marbles, and some of the other things that have been happening. Just wanted to interject and give that, because somebody did say I would love a quick introduction. I don't really know who that is, but appreciate y'all for being here and hanging out with us. Continue, Matt. Sorry.
I was saying
yeah, see, they said they're discussing about YouTube drama.
One of the biggest issues I feel like that came up with Shane Dawson, which is why people started like looking at him, kind of sideways, was everyone is distracting me. was when he started making these documentaries. Remember? Hello, everybody.
Just ignore it, Matt. You focus.
I'm trying. I'm like a goldfish. Like, my eyes go like right down there. When he started making like these documentaries about, the guy that went to the suicide forest, what was his name?
Logan Paul.
Oh, yeah.
So he did that. And then he started doing like the documentary series, and that's when people were like, "Oh, this is kind of cool," but it's kind of like you're getting big off a little bit of misfortune over here, because like Logan Paul is getting trashed right now, but you want to be like, "Oh yeah, this is a perfect person to interview out of everybody else in the world." Yeah, let me go interview this guy.
Yeah, he's I just thought it was really, really interesting. I'm curious to see what becomes of the YouTube giants who have had wild paths, because like we just discussed, a lot of people who, like you said earlier, I believe, Matt, they all came up in the time where the internet was just a really dark, terrible place, especially, and it's a lot of these big YouTubers who.
That's how they came up.
Got some wild videos, probably. You know, just how we always find some wild tweet from a celebrity, a politician, a comedian, whatever. There's some wild videos out there from these YouTubers who thought literally racism, bigotry, homophobia was comedy. So I'm very curious to see. The documentary is about Logan Paul's brother.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lily.
So I see your point. Moving on from YouTube. So August Alsina, if you guys don't know him, he is I guess it's like R&B artist. He's kind of like
he was a rapper.
Nah, he sings.
He's an R&B singer.
Oh,
he's like great.
I knew that.
So because I thought he was straight songs when he first came out, then I realized he wasn't. And I was like, you sound just like Trey. But anyway, August Alsina came out and said that he basically claims that him and Jada Smith had a relationship and they got Will's blessing for it.
I believe it.
I mean, we've always known that the Smiths are swingers. Like, that's not a secret.
I believe it because he was very quick to say, she was very quick to say, like, oh, that's not true. I think that they are trying to protect themselves from a side that nobody knows about.
Thing is, we all know.
Nobody.
We all know. Listen.
But listen, wait. I know that we really know, but like they've never come out and said
it.
So like, you know what I mean? So like, when you're not ready to talk about it completely,
not explicit.
I can see I can see somebody like, I can see her denying it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I saw part of that interview. He seemed really heartfelt and
this
not like some crazy.
I'm sure they do.
Some crazy confession. He looked like he really had some strong feelings.
This man acted like he lost the love of his life.
The only thing that surprised me about this whole story was that I haven't heard August Alsina's name in years. Like he just kind of like disappeared, like out of nowhere.
Well, he's been taking care of his. He's the one that takes care of his nieces and nephews, right? I think somebody somebody passed away.
Both of the parents.
He's being a dad.
My thing is that one, we know that Will and Jada have some amendments to their marriage because I watch the Red Table Talk.
That's what I was gonna say.
Because I love the Red Table Talk. And Will and Jada talked about the relationship, and they said, there was a time where things were rocky, and in order to save it, we had to change how we defined our own marriage. So they've alluded to the fact that things are a little bit different with the marriage than a traditional marriage. Having said that, August Alsina has appeared as a friend of the family. Like he was a brother to Jada and Willow.
When all this stuff was happening to him, they took him in as a mentor figure, like a mentee.
I think he even lived with them.
Listen,
he lived with them. Wow.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm trying to say. I think that first of all, if you consider yourself to be good friends with them, and they've helped you with your addictions, they've helped you through your worst moments in your career, at least have decency and respect for the history that you have with them. To not go on the Breakfast Club, and try to make defamatory comments about this family that you at one point in time so loved, like they were your actual family, even if it is true.
It didn't seem like defamatory. I'm gonna push back from you a little bit. He literally looked like it felt like he was just telling us, because he wasn't. The reason I say it wasn't, I don't think it was defamatory because it didn't come across as anger.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He was hurt.
Telling my story.
Right.
I was upset by this because I missed her. It came across as I miss her. It didn't come across I'm mad at them. And the thing is, I agree with you, Darnell, that we kind of, and what so many people said, that we kind of already knew. The rumor was going around that Will and Jada was an open marriage when I was in the 8th grade. Like this is not
right.
new.
Yeah, we've been hearing this for years.
And like you said on the Red Table Talk, I think it was in that same episode, Darnell, when Will came on and they were having that discussion, she said, no matter what, we're going to be in the same household. I might have somebody with me on that side of the house, and he might have somebody with him on that side of the house. But guess what? We in the same house. So they just haven't explicitly said,
They danced around it. They danced around the point, like, but we got it. Like we put two and two together and made four.
Right.
You know.
Again, I just think that for August, who has history with the family, you know, and has a personal relationship with each of the family members, and as a personal friend of the family, I would think that even if it is true, which I'm not saying that it is or isn't, it's alleged, and Jada's people have denied it, but it's alleged.
Sure,
even if it is true, I think that again, if you have respect for the history that you have with folks. Then don't go out and go on this media campaign and put them on Front Street like this. I think that's a little bit messy.
I don't think he intended to put them on Front Street.
I don't think he did.
I think it was the flow of the conversation.
The whole interview wasn't about that. It was a full.
Yeah, I think it was because I think it was just the flow of the conversation. It just kind of happened.
But if his feelings are hurt, you can't be mad at the man because
he's hurt.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, this man is hurt. I've seen the pictures of Jada and him out on these red carpets. Listen, me and Precious, my fiance, don't take pictures standing this close to each other. Y'all, they was all up under each other in these photos, all pressed up on each other. This man loved her. And I saw a tweet, and take it as you will. Take it as you will, no pun intended. A lot of this has happened. They're saying a lot of this is happening because like we said earlier, August looked at them too as like maybe some mentor figures. A lot of the time when he was going through all this stuff, losing some family members, suffering with some autoimmune diseases. And some people are saying Jada may or may not have taken advantage of him in this state of vulnerability by being in a sexual relationship with him when it started as just a mentor-mentee type relationship. So there was interesting power.
I feel like that's a reach.
Maybe he's the
I'm saying it's definitely a power to him.
No, yeah. I know
than him.
I know you're just saying, but yeah.
Maybe he thought if I do this, I can get some fame, some clout. You know, who knows?
Yeah, I know you're just saying, but I feel like that was a little of a reach for whoever made the point.
Scratch my back.
Go ahead, Camille.
Maybe he's her new Tupac.
Oh no! Don't say that.
I'm just saying, like maybe because
she still gets upset about that.
Real quick.
That ain't right.
I saw the tweet that said Tupac sitting there like, so you're telling me I could have still had you even though you was with Will?
He's gonna fly back from the Philippines so fast.
He probably did in some way. He probably did. They probably were still kind of because I'm sure this whole thing with them was not new in recent years. I'm sure this has been a conversation. So that's what I'm saying. Like maybe she met him, and at first it was platonic, but then got to know him in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Do y'all hear this baby crying in the background?
No.
Oh, let him
not really.
How do you not
go check on him?
Also, real quick, since we're on the topic, would y'all be in an open relationship? I'm gonna tell you right now, I wouldn't.
Excuse me.
Also, since we're on the topic, would y'all be in an open relationship? I'm telling you right now.
Let me say this.
Absolutely not.
Let me say this. I am not open to an open relationship.
However,
I heard about these thruples. And
you and these daggone thruffles.
I
can't.
I think that if the conditions
now you're gonna have a hard enough time.
My man is your man. Her, that's her man too. That's Darnell over there. Like that's who SZA was writing about. He's the Weeknd.
I think it's very interesting. I'm not sure if I would ever do it, but I think that it's just a very interesting thing. I think it's kind of, I ain't gonna say it's cool, but to each their own.
Yeah, I'm not the one to judge. If that's what you want to do, go right on ahead. But yeah, it could not be me.
I would want a contract though if I did something like that.
What's up, Jazz?
What's up, Jazz?
Moving right along to, I guess we'll say, a slightly more serious portion of our podcast. We got this idea of skin folk versus kinfolk. And the thought came, Darnell brought this up because of, so we have this, the Black Attorney General in Kentucky literally hasn't done a thing about the murder of Breonna Taylor yet. And she was murdered, I believe, it's over 100 days. I think it's like 108, 109. It's over 100 days.
Something like that.
Still roaming free, doing whatever they feel like doing with their lives. Candace Owens for forever. I got some maybe controversial thoughts on Candace Owens. I'll let you know in a second. And then Hodge Twins is also trash. If you don't know who the Hodge Twins is, I actually used to be a really big fan of the Hodge Twins. We were in high school. I thought they were really funny.
They turned
two twins.
Sour milk.
I just thought they were funny. They were bodybuilders. They would do a little bit of humor, a little bit of like weightlifting advice. And then they turned out to be coons. So, you never know what's going to happen. So I just wanted to open up the idea and just the kind of the discussion of basically just because someone's black doesn't mean they believe Black Lives Matter.
I mean, my problem with everything is that it's one thing to have your political views. You could be a Republican, you could be a Democrat, whatever you believe is what you believe, and that's perfectly fine. However, don't put sunglasses on to what's really going on in the world. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't just be like, oh, it's always the Democrat or it's always the Republican. It's like, no, it's people. It's people from both sides, but don't put a blinder. Don't confuse what your political view is with what's actually happening in the world. And that's my problem with them, is that I don't think that they separate the two from videos that I've seen.
Yeah.
So to give some information about what's happening in Kentucky, the Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, somebody posted a headline saying he is doing everything under the sun except arresting the cops who killed Breonna Taylor. And so what sparked up the conversations about him was not his meeting with President Trump or the fact that he's a black Republican, but because he, is posting these pictures of him getting engaged online. And Breonna's family is like, where's our justice? And so a couple of celebrities spoke out. Amanda Sales, Mama Tina Lawson spoke out and made some comments. And so I just think that people like him, people like Candace Owens and the Hodge Twins, and more so Candace Owens and the Hodge Twins, they do things with the intention of being divisive and spreading misinformation to masses. And it's very interesting to see how even Candace Owens, who now says that organizations like the NAACP shouldn't exist, was helped out by the NAACP when she had her own lawsuit about racism.
Yep.
And so I think that, again, it's the thing that even though you might be like us, you really ain't for us, and you really ain't doing nothing to help build up this community. You're actually doing the opposite. And I think that's, it's dangerous talk what they do sometimes.
So I have an interesting opinion on Candace Owens.
Okay. What you got to say about this girl with no edges?
Candace Owens is extremely intelligent. I listen to her a lot. I've seen her on multiple panels. I've listened to some of her videos. She's very highly intelligent. She is very aware of the plights of the African American community in this country. She's familiar with Jim Crow, redlining, slavery. She knows everything that happened, but for some reason she doesn't connect the impact that it still has today, if that makes sense.
That was my point.
It makes total sense. Absolutely.
She can go on and on talking about redlining, talking about how basically low-key the government incentivized single parent black households, mass incarceration, taking fathers away from their households, but she fails to make it that connection that is why black people are in the positions they are today. She'll say all of this eloquent stuff, talking about the history that's happened in this country, and somehow come to the conclusion that black people are the reason for their own problems. And that's my opinion on her. I think she's highly intelligent and honestly highly dangerous, because I'll see her videos being shared by people in opposition to the Black Lives Matter movement as a token of saying, look, one of your own blacks don't believe
Oh, you don't know how many times I've seen that.
The Hot Twins have a video of them saying they don't believe systemic racism is a thing. They don't believe the Black Lives Matter movement is a real thing. And so it's really crazy. She's dangerous and divisive. Well,
but she's not ignorant.
My question, like when
she's extremely intelligent and she knows exactly what she's doing.
My question, when you guys brought up like skinfolk versus kinfolk, like the whole topic and everything like that, like, do you think it's a matter of like they don't know or they just like don't care? Because I agree with you. Like Candace Owens is very smart. Like I've watched a couple of her videos and like she makes like good points and everything. But at the end of the day, like look in the mirror, you're black. You know, you go down the street, nobody knows who you are. You're black. So if you think everything happening right now doesn't apply to you, you're kind of like blind at the end of the day. I don't want to call her dumb, so I'll just say blind.
It's a good word.
I think that Candace Owens, she doesn't care because I watched a video talking about her upbringing and things that she faced. She's faced racism. She's used organizations like the NAACP to fight against racism. And she went as so far in recent times, she was going to make a database where she posted up people who did racist things. She was going to post their address, where they work, all types of stuff. She was going to be Black Twitter personified.
That baby's mad at y'all.
I know. But then because she faced legal opposition and people were saying you can't do that, right? And folks weren't really supporting that idea, she didn't pursue. And so I guess she found that being a Black Republican voice and being a Black conservative voice was more profitable than being a Black voice that's actually supporting Black causes.
All right, well, hypothetical question, and God forbid, I hope this obviously doesn't happen, but say she goes somewhere, nobody knows who she is. Somebody just decides to do a hate crime against her, and then where are we going to be? Is she going to sit there and be like, wow, I was wrong, if she's still here to talk about it?
Maybe not.
It's happened before. It's happened to her.
Matt, you brought up a great point. You asked the question, in Candace's case, Hodgson case, and I'm even gonna throw Terry in this. Is it possible that sometimes Black people get so big or whatever they deem successful enough, whether it be money-wise, clout, fame, whatever, that they forget they're Black? And I think to some people it can happen, and they don't realize that the world still sees them and their brown skin. Countless times I'll read stories about, because we all know I'm a huge basketball fan, that happens to NBA players all the time, that, you know, these NBA players who make millions of money and are on television every day get pulled over in their city, get talked to crazy by the officers, get yanked out their cars, and they be like, oh, you play for our team? I was rooting for you last night. I didn't know who you were.
Right. Cool. All of a sudden now it's like, can I have your autograph?
So
I'll totally accept that as an apology. Awesome.
Take on the back of this ticket that I'm not going to give you.
Yeah. So,
but I think that's hard because if you're seen as to white society as an acceptable Black person, you know, you're not one of those. You're one of those. You're one of the good ones. Things of that nature. You know, I think that hearing stuff like that and the adulation of that crowd, it gets to your head. And so, like, what do we do with people who are like that, who are in the sunken place? Because, like, even Aaron, you commented on a post this past week. I was just
going to call out Aaron and say he was in the sunken place.
And you talked about a religious leader who was talking about, we're talking about everything.
Place. I had to talk about it.
Black on Black crime.
Yeah.
I
had to discuss it.
We need to talk about Black on Black crime. And I saw your post, and you said everything you were supposed to say. But like, how I know that because I was talking to somebody who has an organization about civil rights and Christendom.
That's crazy.
Both put together. But he pretty much said, you know, we still have to fight for those who don't see that they need to fight for themselves. And like how it's hard to reconcile these people because you love them, but at the same time, the stuff that they're saying is just stupid. Like talking about Black on Black crime, Candace Owens talking about what she's talking about. You know, it's like we love them and we're going to fight for them, even if they don't see that there's a need to fight.
I mean, Beyonce still knows she's a Black woman, so
fight for somebody who don't realize they need to fight for themselves. That's a tall order.
But because we're fighting for our race.
Fight for them, I guess.
We're fighting for the existence of our race. So if they are Black, even though they're not kinfolk, they're just skinfolk, they, by virtue of what we're doing, their lives hopefully will be improved as well.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's almost like teacher contracts. You know, when teachers go before, even if you're not a part of the union, the contracts that the union fights for covers the few people that aren't a part of the union. So, you know, it's almost like that. You're not a part of the union. You're still a teacher. We're still the same profession, but because we're fighting a different way, you're still going to benefit. And so I guess that's what we're doing for people like Candace Owens, that pastor that you had to talk to on Facebook, Aaron, and others. And
I'll just say this, and then we can move on to the next topic. I think that I guess when we talk about the Candace Owens and the twins, whatever, I think one thing that is like, if you haven't gone through it, sometimes you can't, some people can't find it in themselves.
Sometimes you can't identify.
Empathize and identify. But instead of just coming from, instead of being like, all right, I haven't gone through that, but I'm going to empathize with you. I'm going to meet you where you are, and I'm going to fight the fight because I know that it exists, but it just didn't happen to me. That's one crazy thing, but I don't like it when I see Black people who, not to say that they can't have a different political view, but don't ignore the fact that stuff just doesn't
going
exist.
on.
Like that it doesn't go on. When it does, it just hasn't happened to you. And great, awesome, but
that's the same thing we're asking white people to do. And that's why I think some Black people do it. It hasn't happened to them. And that's why for some white people, it's just as hard as them to understand that things. And that's why I had that conversation with y'all. We had that conversation a couple of weeks ago where I was saying for some white people, racism is just now realizing it's a thing in America because their friends who are friends with them, who went to high school with them, are sharing their stories. Because for some of these Black people, especially if there were some Black people who might have had parents who were famous or maybe grew up kind of good or whatever, and had stuff happen to them, they might not realize it's a thing too. That just hit me with saying.
But I feel like you can't. But I can't allow that to just mean that you can't. That's what I'm saying. You can't allow that to desensitize you and like that just mean, oh, well, I haven't gone through it. Oh well. No, like you can be angry. You can be sad for other people and for your own people, and still fight the good fight, even though it hasn't happened to you. So I'm confused by why there's not like any empathy from people.
Well, I think that it's also a question of education. I think that
can you put that back up again?
We don't learn our own histories.
Against farewell is of the same opinion.
We're supposed to read it in the air so we can continue, Matt. Dang.
I think that we don't learn our own histories correctly, and even the history of this country, this country's inception. And our founding fathers, you know, we didn't learn the whole truth. We didn't know that Jefferson and George Washington were terrible slave owners, that utterly, you know, really didn't free their slaves. You know, we didn't learn these things, and we didn't learn the what really happened in slavery with the slave trade. We didn't learn all this stuff, and so now, you know, people are like, well, why is this still happening? They don't know the context, and they don't see. You know, from slavery to Jim Crow, from Jim Crow to civil rights to mass incarceration, Black people and white people, because
a lot of people don't know that
histories. Black people aren't taught the histories in schools. All we got were February, and we learned about George Washington Carver and his peanuts. We didn't learn about Malcolm X. We didn't learn about Mary Cloud Bethune and all these other people that really we should know off the back of our hand.
And
excellent points. We're gonna move on to something. I don't know, we got a little bit of time before we gotta get up out of here. Jay-Z now has the most platinum
You could do it. I believe in you.
Jay-Z now has the most platinum albums of any hip hop act in America. It currently has 13 platinum albums. What's your favorite Jay-Z track? I ain't gonna ask you.
That one, I want to say it's Death of an Auto-Tune or something like that. That one.
We ain't learned
what you got, Lil Mama.
We ain't learned about Tulsa. We ain't learned about the Philadelphia bomb. This whole lot we ain't learned about.
Hello.
Yes, Death of Auto-Tune. That's a dope one.
Yeah. You mentioned Interlude earlier before we were talking. I wasn't even thinking about that one, but it's funny. I didn't even know we were going to talk about this today, and I wore my On the Run shirt when I saw.
Remember, Matt? That was our song. I would pick Matt up and we would be driving, and that was like our song to play. Not that we were a couple, we just loved On the Run.
That was our song. But before that, I remember being in the concert. Philly was sold out. I had to go to Madison Square Garden, and then when Interlude played, and it got to like the allow me to introduce myself, everyone went crazy. And you know, Interlude will always have a special place in my heart after that night.
Yeah, Interlude is probably my favorite. Well, I have a couple favorites. I'm just going to take some time here. Interlude is probably my favorite one. Death of Autotune is probably also my favorite one.
Right.
But my new favorite one after this album dropped, Kill Jay-Z. First off, 444, that whole album is probably my favorite Jay-Z album. And Kill Jay-Z is probably my favorite song on that album. So that is my current favorite Jay-Z song.
So I like Family Feud only because, well, not only because.
Yeah.
Dirt off your shoulder.
Has the Clark sisters. It has the Clark sisters.
Family Feud is a good one, and it does have the Clark.
Like, come
All
on,
right.
man.
Let the Clark sisters sing it now. 99 Problems, yes.
What's the other song that he did with Kanye? I don't think this one's not platinum, but just that now that we're speaking about Jay-Z. The other song he did with Otis, I love
Biting
too.
your arm?
Can I just say this about Kanye?
He's like,
I don't want to get on Kanye.
He's not biting me. He just likes to like put his teeth on me. He's fine.
I don't want to get on Kanye.
If I scream, you'll know why.
But I'll never forgive Candace Owens because she ruined Kanye, and that's all I'm gonna say. But Jay-Z is just, he's in a stratosphere in and of himself. Him and his wife are doing the darn thing. I just hope that
Otis, yeah.
I just want to skip to the time where Blue Ivy's in charge of America and she's running things like she did in one of their videos.
Thanks, Crash. Can I be on the page?
No. That's a no.
That's fine.
We got two more topics. I'm gonna skip the pastor one because it's a little longer, and I just
long.
I really just want to get your thoughts. We already talked about them once, but since we're in a happy place talking about entertainers, oh
my God, please
say you're more liked. Who's better to you? There we go. Who's better to you? Will Smith or Jamie Foxx?
Jamie.
Well,
really? With that headline? Will Smith.
What?
Will Smith.
Don't be disrespectful. Do not.
Jamie's hair. Can I pull up the picture? I want to pull up the
hairline.
Jamie's hairline.
I'm always.
It was looking suspect.
First off, I feel like y'all said that way too easily. Y'all came to Will Smith and Jamie.
I have reasons.
I have reasons. People don't let me talk. So.
Okay, first I
need to hit Camille first, then Matt, then Arnell. Camille, what's your reasons for Jamie? Because y'all said these too easily.
Because Ray, he embodied Ray. Like I forgot.
I thought he was
even him. And Django, I didn't really watch it because it just would have made me sad, so I didn't.
You love Django.
But bits and pieces of it, good. I feel like everybody's work that he's done pretty much has been pretty solid, even down, leave him alone, forget it.
Continue.
Even down to something like as simple as like Valentine's Day he was in. Like, I just feel like he really takes roles seriously, and he also isn't the type of person that I've seen who just takes roles just to take it. Low key, I feel like Will Smith, there's some movies he really could have skipped out on. Like, he didn't really have to like accept that role. And whereas Jamie, I can't think of one that hasn't been really bad, honestly.
Okay, Matt.
All right, I went with Will Smith because if we compare sitcom to sitcom, I will always love The Fresh Prince. I never really got into the Jamie Foxx show. If we're gonna go movies,
that's before your time.
It still comes on TV.
What's it? I watched it.
Continue.
You're old, but
you're younger than me.
Just because you're 50 doesn't mean it's before our time. Like,
wow. Because I don't agree with you now, my age has to get discredited. Okay.
Love you.
And if we go movie to movie, yeah, maybe Will Smith could have skipped out on some parts, but every part he plays, he plays that part. You can never say Will Smith has been a bad actor in a movie.
Let me piggyback on what Matt said.
Matt, you don't know that last part. He got some.
Let me.
What part did you think was bad?
Listen, I love this movie, but it's
Wild Wild West.
Wild West.
That was the movie.
Listen, I absolutely love that movie. I absolutely love it, but I know deep down in my heart it is trash. Look,
it's a cult classic.
7 pounds was good for what it was. I did like that one.
Trash.
Yeah.
Concussion was garbage.
I didn't see that one.
What was that movie where he was like the gambler with that white woman or something?
Gambler with that white Gemini Man?
No.
Oh, I know which one.
6 Degrees.
I don't remember the name.
Maybe.
I don't remember the name, but it's a
was
newer one.
Was that one
no.
6 Degrees of Separation?
6 Degrees is one he was a gay character.
Remember that man? Also trash. I loved it, but not good.
Listen.
Well, let me say.
Okay,
this.
but every bad part, you'll say. Oh my God! Shut up.
All right, this movie was good. Will did good in this movie, but Jaden couldn't act. Jaden made this movie film.
Yeah.
The Pursuit of Happiness. I think that we have to remember that Will, he is. I like his swag a bit more. I like his talent a little bit more. You know, as Aaron likes to say, he can rap, which some people disagree with. But then also he's a great actor who's appeared in countless hit movies. Jamie Foxx, there's some, like Camille said, you try to say that he doesn't have any bad movies, but I didn't like him in Nanny. I'd never watched Robin Hood. He did great with Ray, but Will Smith did great with the Muhammad Ali biopic.
I honestly haven't seen a lot of Jamie Foxx's movies. He doesn't draw me to the box office.
Hello. And The Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know why he was in that movie. He looks like I don't know. I just didn't.
You're a hater.
I didn't need it.
That's fine.
Law-abiding citizen, Baby Driver. Nobody was.
Baby Driver was good. Don't do that. Baby Driver was good. Don't do that.
It wasn't good in the box office.
He was good in Baby Driver.
It didn't do good in the box office. I'm just saying he didn't have to.
I haven't seen any movies.
Box office flops. Let's not do that either.
You got
how many? Name one. Name it.
I don't like Googling it. I just know they did.
You know what? I haven't seen a lot of Jamie Foxx's movies though, but I do know him from when he put that album out. It was talking about Blame It on the Alcohol, and that song went on the radio. And that album I heard did good. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I remember the radio singles.
Jamie stinks. Miss Angelique. Miss Angelique.
I agree.
Wow.
Facts are facts.
Y'all disrespect
That's not nice.
this wasn't a moment to disrespect either person. I'm just this was who's your favorite. We're not going to disrespect Jamie on here. Jamie,
Will Smith did Bad Boys and Men in Black. Those are two
classic
tycoon hit movies.
I liked it.
Baby Drivers was odd. Thank you.
But I liked it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Angelique, no disrespect, but we're not going to disrespect
I Am
Jamie. That's all I'm
Legend.
saying.
He was an I Am Legend.
We love you though.
Ali.
He said, and that's all period.
Period. He was in Ali.
All period, Miss Hilton.
We know the Will Smith movie.
Look,
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Thank you. We
all know the Will Smith movies, but the Jamie Foxx movies, nah.
Jamie Foxx killed it in stealth, but they killed him off. I'm just gonna say that he was killing it in stealth, but they murdered my man.
There was a reason.
And then he has the nerve to be in that show. What's it called? Beat Shazam. Like
what?
You saying that this a role?
That game show?
Oh yeah, he's like
Jamie. Listen, hold on, I got you.
He's a phenomenal musician.
Listen, hold on, I got you. Jamie killed it in Just Mercy. Have you seen it?
He did.
Have you seen it?
You haven't seen Just Mercy?
You a big liar.
You're a hater.
You're
such a hater.
I've never seen it.
Everything you do right by me. You lying.
Wow. Lying?
Mercy was fire. Jamie did great in that. Django, fire. Ray, fire. I didn't see Robin Hood. I ain't gonna lie to you. Annie, I didn't see.
Annie was
They didn't need to remake Annie and make Mr. Warbucks black. That was unnecessary.
Listen, he was great in White House Down.
I'm saying all that, y'all.
They didn't need to make a new Annie. I said it and I'll say it again. They never needed to make a new Annie.
I'm gonna get her down and shuck and jive.
They never needed to make a new Annie. That was so much.
Look into the camera, Matt. Look into the camera.
I need to repeat myself.
Black Twitter's gonna find you.
Place, Matt.
I don't need to repeat myself.
Listen, I'm gonna go down Jamie's list. Baby Driver was good. I'm here. Look, people say Annie was fine. Who had a better role, Jamie or Ray?
That thing was terrible.
Jamie.
Well,
Jamie was on heroin in the movie. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I don't know.
He probably was.
Jamie bodied Ray, bro.
He did.
Yo, who would
end this podcast? I'm tired of this discussion. Let's wrap this thing up.
I just want to also put out there. I said all of that back at Jamie, but the question was, who's your favorite? And my favorite just happens to be Will, not Jamie. Y'all was coming. Listen, y'all was. But listen, it's because y'all was coming at Jamie too hard. Y'all was.
I'm the only one. I'm the only one in this group right now.
I guess because it's out of our age bracket.
Listen, the question was, who's your favorite? Will is my favorite, but it was saying Jamie was trash, so I had to hop on the Jamie defense. But I mean, I was listening to Will's Big Willie style, and he's the DJ, I'm the rapper. Last week, I still listen to Will's actual music. You feel me? I be watching his movies. It's a whole thing. It's not fake.
Fake.
I mean, look, she put it out in the world. Will isn't. I be listening to his music. I watch his old movies. Like I said, Wild Wild West. I know it's big trash, but it's one of my favorite movies of his.
I love Wild Wild
West. He left you out to dry, Camille.
You know what? He did.
Jamie is the better comedian. Will Smith is not a comedian.
He's a good scripted comedian. He can't do a stand-up.
He's a good.
I will give you that. I will give you that.
He's a good actor.
I just had to defend Jamie.
Instagram.
I'm saying Jamie is a better comedian. Yeah.
Will Smith's Instagram is off. I love it.
What, his TikToks and stuff with his kids?
His Instagram, when he joined Instagram and all his stories, and
I don't follow him on Instagram.
Doing the bucket list.
You should. It's pretty good.
This has been great. Looks like Will Smith's our favorite. I'm gonna see. We gotta see if we can come up with another, couple of entertainers to pair against each other. That was fun. I like that. We might do that.
Our own verses.
Yeah, our own little verses without whatever. Any final thoughts before we head up out of here?
Jamie Foxx is better than Will. Period.
Okay, girl, whatever you think. Obviously, that's not true because 3 out of the 4 people on this podcast think differently.
But we don't speak for everyone. This is our opinion. Camille can have hers.
I'm just saying that 3 out of 4 people.
Thank you.
I'm just saying 3 out of 4 people on this podcast like Will Smith, and only 1 person likes Jamie Foxx. I'm just saying. If this was an election, Will Smith would have won. But what my final thoughts are, in New Jersey, you have probably all received your provisional ballots by now. Make sure that you vote. All you have to do is fill it out, put it in the mail slip, and put it in the mailbox. It's simple and easy as that. Make sure that you vote. There's things that we need to vote about. I voted personally for Will Cunningham as the Democrat nominee for Congress because he is the black man.
I thought you weren't supposed to tell people. I thought that was a point of a secret ballot.
No, it's not a secret. Nobody said it's a secret ballot. I said it was an absentee ballot. That means that instead of me going to the polls,
private. All ballots are inherently secret. Never mind.
Yeah, it's private. It is.
But you can talk about who you vote for.
I don't be telling you who I vote for.
I do.
Yeah.
There's people I want to see get elected. So make sure that you do that. Vote. Do your thinking about whatever, and then also email the people about Breonna Taylor. I'm going to post it on my Facebook and my Instagram.
Hit me up if you need email, John. I sent 2 emails last week. Hit me up if you need a email template. A couple.
There is I have already made emails as well that I can post on my social medias. Email these people. Let's make some real change here. I don't want just Aunt Jemima off the bottle. I want to have structural, systemic change happen.
About that. I forgot.
I want structural, systemic change. So let's do that.
Aunt Jemima?
Yeah, that was like the last episode.
All right, never mind. I missed it. Camille, any thoughts?
Camille already gave her thoughts about.
I said Jamie.
Oh, yeah, you did say Jamie. Matt, did you go?
My final thoughts are good night, everybody. That's it. Be safe.
Yeah, my thoughts are both Will Smith and Jamie Foxx are excellent entertainers. I prefer
Jamie.
I like Will a little better, but that's just
Will is better.
But I don't inherently think one is better than the other. I just want to put that out there. We out of here, y'all. Bye.
Bye, everybody.